Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this final day of the League of Legends Championship, DSEA League of Legends competition of the Plat Plus bracket. Today we will see the games between DSEA Purple Ngurple and DSEA Redmi to conclude the group stage. And in order to bring these epic new games with you today, with me is Koen Kedenkedenk. Koen, how are you doing?
I'm doing phenomenally. I'm here to watch a very exciting match. One that has some stakes, some history, some background. Not one that's going to definitely affect the table, but that's not what it's about. It's about a good time. It's about watching some good League of Legends.
Definitely. Now, if you look very closely at the color of our colors, you might see that we are both wearing a little bit of purple right here. That's because
we're not biased.
We're not biased for purple, but we just want to see some good League of Legends, and we hope purple can bring it to the DSEA Red. Historically, these teams have beaten each other. In fact, DSEA Purple one of the only, actually the only DSEA team that has managed to take down Red, I think. So as you already mentioned, there is a lot of history and a lot of stakes for the just the bragging rights in general. So we're gonna have to see how that goes down. Before we dive into the specifics of the matchup, so let's actually have a look at the general standings of this entire ordeal. Firstly, you can see, if I'm correct, the standings for Group 1. You have DSEA Redmi undefeated still, in fact the only undefeated team in the entire tournament, with 3 wins, 0 ties, 0 losses at the top. Zephyr Chimera following suit, Donga City Gaming in 3rd place, DSEA Purple and Ngurple 4th, and DSEA Green Beans in 5th. If Purple were to take down DSEA Red twice today, they would get to 6 points, the same as DSEA Primera, but they've lost the head-to-head to Primera, therefore Zephyr Primera will still end up being 2nd. Then we have the... Oh, you wanted to say something?
Oh yeah, this means that the only influence on the standings will be that Purple can become the 3rd place, with Donga Sit possibly becoming the 4th place, which is not important for going to the semis, or going to the semis.
Yeah,
but still, it's a 1-up.
Yeah, exactly. Just for personal bragging rights, and of course very valid ones. Then going down to the other group 2. Yesterday already the first match was played, and tomorrow the other match was played of round 5. So that leaves us with Erasmus Taxi Drivers inadvertently at the top. Did take a loss yesterday, which is the first they did. So very interesting stuff. DSEA Orange in firm 2nd place will play their match tomorrow, but again, whether they win, lose or tie, that will not have an influence on their 2nd place. Zephyr Hydra in 3rd, BS Primus, the one that was the only team managing to take a game off Erasmus Taxi Drivers, now in 4th place, and DSEA Link will face off against DSEA Orange tomorrow and solidify their last place then.
Interesting enough, BS Primus taking Erasmus Taxi Drivers, while they did lose against the 2 teams better than them, Zephyr Hydra and DSEA Orange, through their head-to-head, losing to all the teams above them, except for the team above all of those teams, which is Erasmus Taxi Drivers. Interesting how the power layering, power dynamic there works, showing that even if your team is better, generally you can still find a game, find a win here and there, kind of like how Purple did that every year against Red. There's always some chance.
Yeah, and the fact that BS Primus managed to take down Erasmus Taxi Driver shows that the Purple victory over Red is not a one-off. It happens more often, so it's definitely not a done deal today. If Purple comes with a plan and executes on that plan, they definitely have a shot. Now, looking at the schedule... Yeah, let me just get that over here. Just for the Plat Plus bracket in general, you can see that BS Primus has faced off against Taxi Drivers, as already mentioned, in a 1-1. Green Beans will face off against Primera, Purple and Ngurple will face off against DSEA Redmi. Those are both from Group 1. And then the last game from Group 2 is DSEA Link Deku against DSEA Orange Goesting tomorrow. So, let's hone in a little bit on this specific matchup. Because we already said there's some history. One team has beaten the other team has beaten the one. So what are we expecting to see today?
In short, I am expecting a victory for Red. They are, by quite a large margin, by solo queue standards, the better team. They also, I believe, practice more, and in that sense, have a better chance of winning. But Purple has some things that really make them a strong team. They have some interesting picks. I'm not sure if they're still like valid or like some of them maybe shift out of meta, but they probably have something random because I know their players are a little bit like that. And they have probably, because based off what DSEA, like the knowledge that goes around, probably the strongest knowledge base of drafting. And that's mostly through their captain, Quinn. So for example, last weekend, there was the competitive gathering in which all the DSEA, many DSEA players came together and talked about league at a competitive level. And Quinn, the mid laner of Purple, was the one leading that workshop, asking and explaining his like approach and the way he has learned how to use drafting as an advantage.
Yeah, the competitive gathering actually very interesting set of gatherings over the last couple of months of this year, in which DSEA members try to share their knowledge about the game to other DSEA members with the goal of improving everybody in the process. So if you hadn't heard about this yet, be sure to check that out. Maybe join in now and then. It could be a lot of fun there. I want to get a quick heads up. We have received information about the fact that the AD carry from DSEA Purple currently is stuck in a car and is not able to get to a computer. Purple is looking to solve this problem maybe through a sub, so we have to wait a little bit longer than expected. But you know, that gives us more time to cover this match and maybe have a little look into more individual things, what we expect from here.
We'll keep you guys up to date of what we know. And if we have to take a break, then we'll come back a later point to revisit the match. Probably still tonight. I assume still tonight.
Yeah. We get the question how long it's okay to wait the stream. If it takes more than 10 or 15 minutes, we'll just have a talk now, pause the stream for a little bit, and then come back. If it takes very long or the game is not going to happen today, please let us know as soon as possible, and then we'll come back to it in another day. Yeah, just keep us updated, and we will also update, of course, the public watching. Yeah, let's take this time to go through the matchups, maybe head to head, see what we think is going to happen, maybe compare the champion pools a little bit. I don't know, let's just do it like that. So you have in the top lane DSEA Purple running Ayas versus Margin Called. The head to head. Solo queue rating, Ayas currently being Gold 1 and Margin Called Diamond 1, so there's a significant disparity there. But Ayas is always known to be a tricky player to take down, so do you think there's going to be some things happening there, or is it just going to be a standard matchup?
I'm currently not really on track of the meta of top lane, like what picks are supposed to be the most powerful. I do know that I believe both players are Gragas players. I'm sure of that for the case of Red. Ayas, I'm not as certain of, but he generally picks up meta champions I've seen as they are developed.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you agree on that. But I do think that they could have some similar pools because of the way they approach the game.
Yeah, something I'm really curious to seeing in the top lane specifically is also, for example, are we going to see a Lee Sin in the top lane? We saw Armut pick it up just now before we started covering this. We also have the Wukong, potentially also a big Armut pick. So, you know, how are we going to go in the fighters? Ayas, very big fan of, for example, the Aatrox as well. Aatrox not as strong in the current meta, but similar kind of pick. So, who knows?
That's true. I have seen highlights of his Aatrox, and I do believe his Aatrox was the pick that they used to bring down Red the previous time.
I do think
if I'm not mistaken. Like I just remember some kind of raid boss Aatrox just terrorizing Red. So maybe that's a pick they would want to take out purely because it is a powerful pick that Ayas can make good use of, opposed to it being specifically a champion that is well placed in the meta at the moment.
Yeah, definitely a champion that Ayas can put a lot of work down on the side of Purple. So yeah, we were expecting a little bit of fighting. I don't think it will get to a tank v tank matchup in the top lane, to be honest. So we'll see how that is going to progress. End up. Yeah, we get a little bit of update from Cubicle, the mid laner from DSEA Purple, is that the draft will be happening in a couple of minutes, and then they're going to quit champ select, and then in about 8 to 10 minutes there should be a sub arriving for the AD carry of DSEA Purple.
So that should be going swiftly, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, you mentioned the Lee Sin top lane. Also, Lee Sin mid lane is propping up a little bit less so than the top lane, which is interesting because I've tried playing a little bit. I've gotten ahead early and then I've started inting once like lane phase is finished or whatever. But like a pick like that kind of comes out of nowhere and you don't really know all the matchups for it whatsoever. Like I think Lee Sin, he has to land his Q to do damage. Not necessarily. He can poke with his E if it's a melee matchup. He's hard to gank because he can ward out. He has a bunch of tools in his kit, and I doubt people know how to play against that because he's so new in as a possible pick.
Yeah, actually, let's jump into that matchup in the mid lane a little bit more. Lee Sin specifically, you mentioned it. I don't think it's very much a champion that Cubicle will be picking up. Cubicle much more known for the more control-styled matchups, like Cassiopeia, likes Victor, Nunu a little bit as well when he roams a lot. That's also his other playstyle, very roam-heavy player.
He has a few different approaches to his game depending on which champion he plays, Victor, or indeed like the Nunu. I think it's been a while.
Yeah, exactly. But in the other side, you have Devil X, and he can be a very aggro player. So him bringing out Lee Sin would not be the strangest thing in the world, I do believe.
Oh, okay. I was not aware he had that reputation, but that's it's definitely possible. Like he does play LeBlanc, I can see, and what is this? LeBlanc, Lucian, and the Kali. Those are champions indeed that can dominate a lane. And can be unfun to play against if they show such a high level of skill, kind of through like mechanics and stuff. Like it's hard to lose lane against champions that have so much agency.
Yeah, exactly. You have to be very careful because as soon as you make a misstep and you get punished and the opponent's assassin gets snowballing, it can be very hard to stop that snowball from going downhill. So yeah, Sergey, I think he's called Sergey. I'm not even sure. Alexi, maybe, I don't know, whatever. Devil X, I'll call him by his IGN, is a very strong player there in that mid lane. So we're going to have to see if Purple can actually live up to that...
that pressure.
Yeah, up to that pressure, or if Devil X is going to be able to snowball that mid lane down. But I think, Cubicle tends to be a very safe, solid player, so he should be fine. Unless he gets capped by the Mortius a lot. And let's actually head over into that jungle matchup, because there we have Guilty Seagull versus the Mortius, and I think honestly this is where DSEA Purple has maybe even an advantage. Guilty Seagull, wait, is Guilty Seagull the support or the jungler? I'm not sure.
Guilty Seagull is the support Winterjas.
Never mind, Winterjas is the jungler, yeah. Against the Mortius, and then I have to retract myself. I think that's maybe the biggest gap in favor of Red then, because the Mortius currently having a lot of experience in the jungle, being Diamond 4 versus Winterjas being currently Silver 1 in solo queue. So that is where the Mortius may actually be thriving.
At that level, solo queue wise, I agree. I think on average Timmy is a very knowledgeable player, like always looking to support his team and not going for solo playstyle carry. So then he will never particularly win the jungle matchup, but he should get winning lanes and win through that.
Yeah.
However, I do believe that the jungle matchup specifically was one that went in favor of Winterjas in the previous head-to-head between Purple and Red.
Interesting. Okay.
Which Purple then threw as like a big pressure point, because Timmy's one to give up his own farm, his own way of getting into the game to put his teammates ahead. Also leaves him possibly vulnerable for getting evaded, getting out pressured, losing that 1v1, and not being able to keep control anymore of his own objectives.
Yeah, I think the Mortius really plays so similarly to how Broxa played when he played for Fnatic, which is very gank heavy, supporting your lanes, sacrificing, as you already mentioned, sacrificing your own stuff to get the team ahead. And if Winterjas can abuse that and get ahead and get some lanes going himself, could be a very strong plan for DSEA to come back into this game, or DSEA Purple, in fact, to come into this game and start swinging with a hammer.
Yeah.
Then the bot lane is the only lane we have not quite talked about. I believe the substitute AD carry for Purple will be Shinu, SHINOO. I have I have no knowledge exactly on how he plays, what he does, so we're going to have to get that ready right now. On the other side, however, you have Fixit and XUV Losgeld, and that is generally a rather solid lane. Fixit is a very strong, more slightly more towards a mid-late game player, but can definitely get a lot of work done. He likes really players like champions like the Ezreal, that kind of stuff. So we're gonna have to see how that turns out. Both teams.
Fixit probably player I know the best, and indeed you mentioned late game. Vayne is a pick he doesn't really play like too often, but it's a very comfortable pick for him. It's like one of his most comfortable champions. Jinx alongside that as well. Jinx being quite powerful in the current meta actually, like with decent buffs happening recently. And kind of she can be very obnoxious to play against. Late game she's a terror, Runans she AoE crits like crazy, and early game if she's safe enough with the enchanter supports that you could be respecting from Red, she could get through the early game and be the terror you want her to be.
And we have started the first champ select just a couple of seconds ago. And speaking of the Jinx, it seems like she might be the first champion to make her way to the bench immediately. So definitely a good call out from you there. The response ban is the Nunu. Nunu is a little bit of a focus towards Cubicle, of course, who really likes to run that champion down mid lane and from mid lane towards top and bot. So I'm curious to see what the follow-up from DSEA Red is going to be. The Lee Sin actually being banned out here, so Purple is not willing to give that over to either the mid or top lane from
That's
DSEA
interesting. Lee Sin being like a flexible pick at the moment, being an interesting ban for like the flex picks you want to be picking early in the draft. As Quinn could tell you, he wants to. He has very good ideas on what you need to be doing at what stage of the draft. Also, the Nunu ban, I honestly find a little bit questionable because I do believe that Quinn is currently not playing it anymore, not feeling that it's strong enough to warrant a pick. But maybe there's like a scenario where you would want to pick it, and DSEA Red snuffed that out and made sure it kind of happened. Next to Seraphine ban, people say it's a disgusting champion.
Yeah, Seraphine.
Probably right.
Specifically towards the late game, can do a lot of work for healing your team, just keeping everything healthy, and then also has that massive crowd control ultimate. So could be something. Senna and Tristana found their ways to the bench as well. That leaves Purple and Ngurple with the first pick, and they decide that Lulu is first pickable in this current meta.
Interesting. The Tristana ban, I kind of wonder what it's targeting, because I don't see Quinn as a mid lane Tristana player, and I don't believe like blind picking bot lane Tristana would be such a priority. But maybe again, it's like something that they want to watch out for because they want to pick possibly a Jinx, and that could be vulnerable against the pressurizing pick of the Tristana.
Yes, and the Lulu, of course, currently a very strong support, has been threatened to show up at SI as well. I'm not sure if she has shown up at all, but I don't believe just yet. The response is Karma from DSEA Red, very much a champion in the style of XUV Losgeld. He really likes those more casters, support, enchanters, together with the Varus for a lot of a poke lane.
Yeah, that's a lane that you don't want to lane against. Like, you hate your life getting Mantra Qs on your face, getting Ferris Ws,
piercing arrows.
Mainly the Qs and sometimes a little bit of an E. It's kind of terrorizing against Lulu. There's no healing options, only a shielding and some poke back. Yeah, you want to be helping that out and have a good AD carry to support the Lulu there.
And we see the Victor being picked up as a response. That's an early game of an early pick for that mid lane, though leaving it open. They're saying basically we are comfortable picking our mid laner blind into this DSEA Red matchup, but that does leave them with the choice of picking either AD carry or jungle here. The other one might get targeted in the second ban here.
Yeah. I do think that the Victor would have been banned if they wouldn't pick it up at this stage. They pick up the top laner in Gangplank. That's an interesting choice. It leaves a very mismatched pick and ban early on with a Gwenhover at the moment, a champion that's seen as absolute garbage by many people. Including myself a little bit from what I've seen of her so far in my games, but possibly the Gangplank matchup might be good. Again, I don't know because the champion is too new. No idea what the true implications of picking her could be. And no, we're discussing her. It's a Corki.
It's a Corki Victor matchup. That's going to be very much alike the Corki Azir matchup, as in probably nothing much is going to happen. They're going to be poking around a little bit, and then they're going to get the late game and absolutely one-shot everything and everybody they find. The Gangplank, I do think Gangplank leaves Gwen a little bit of room to wiggle with in the early game, and then maybe that is enough to get Gwen to 3 items, where she's going to be an absolute terror to deal with. So yeah, Gangplank is maybe Gwenable, basically.
Possibly. The one thing with the Victor Corki matchup is, of course, the package, I think. It gives us one extra option for Corki. Like, Victor can shove a little bit better once he gets his stacks, but Corki got that global pressure, which Victor can then has to watch out for.
Yeah, certainly with this already high pressure bot lane that you see, what can happen is that Karma and Varus land their poke a lot, and then the bot lane from DSEA Purple is going to be shoved under their tower, then get a Corki package over that, and suddenly, you're dead. So it's going to be very hard to deal with that, potentially, if DSEA Red manages to exploit that perfectly. The second bans that we see coming through are Caitlyn by DSEA Red and the Jarvan by Purple Ngurple. Jarvan, of course, neither team has picked up a jungler so far, and Jarvan has been a very comfortable pick for the Mortius with a lot of crowd control and like team fight presence. So it makes sense that it finds its way to the table, or to the bench actually. And then you see the Amumu picked up, or actually not picked up, put on the bench as well.
Yeah, for sure. Amumu, I'm not sure that's still like a champion at the moment. Maybe through some like scouting, they saw that being picked up. The Jarvan on the other end, indeed, as you said, it comes to pick for the Mortius, and one that can support the Karma Varus, Corki, like, which is going to throw everything at bot lane. Composition they might be looking at to build with their last 2 picks at the moment.
Yeah, and the Fat Man follows suit, as Gragas is also banned. The Amumu ban specifically, I think, is something that is a little bit for Vito as a person. I think it's a champion, and he, I believe, plays significant amounts of, and it's also could be a very risky pick to play into. If you get bandage tossed once, there's the Gnar, could think like as a mini party. Yes. But anyway, if you get bandage tossed once and then a big ultimate hits by Amumu, it could be troublesome. So, you know what? If it's a comfortable pick, might as well ban it out. But yeah, go ahead. Talk about Gnar.
I mean, I like Gnar. Gnar into Gangplank is a matchup. Like, it's really confusing. Because Gangplank as a champion, Sonic just stands there and like, you walk up to him, he Qs you in your face. And if you're Gnar and you Q through a minion and you auto him, and Gangplank only Qs you, Gangplank outrage you. Thing is though, Gnar has a level 6 and Gangplank like doesn't really. You can kind of disengage with it. So if you hit 6 early, you can one-shot the Gangplank. As long as you like are able to hit your stun after he oranged your first stun. Like that's kind of like what you have to look out for. If you can do that, it's a terror for Gangplank. Otherwise, if you're playing passively as Gnar, and you're trying like you trade once with an auto instead of just all in and then don't trade at all. All in, don't trade at all. If you just passively trade with him, Gangplank's gonna like just poke you out. It's a good matchup.
Wow.
Okay. I missed a bunch of other picks.
No,
in the meantime, because I'm talking too much.
Yeah, the Rammus was picked up against a relatively heavy AD focused team, but with the Rumble and the Corki, of course, there's a lot of magic damage still. So Purple rounding their combo with Rammus and Lux. And the Lux pickup is a little bit of a question mark for me, because I don't see a traditional marksman on the side of Purple and Ngurple. So I suppose it's going to be a Lulu Lux bot lane, but then my question is like, why pick the Lulu if you're going to pick a Lux? So I'm not sure how this is going to shape out.
Yeah, this is questionable to me. Like a Lulu Lux bot lane, Lulu specifically wants to target 80 carries as their main priority to buff with the attack speed buffs and stuff. Like a Lux mage bot lane, sure I can see work, but if Gangplank is your only auto attack focused DPS who is like unreliable because he doesn't have consistent DPS because he's a melee champion, I don't see the Lulu synergizing too well with that. But maybe it works. I don't know. Yeah, interesting. The Rammus also doesn't seem to particularly work well against this high magic damage composition. Sure, it's auto attack focused with Ferris, Corki, Gnar, but like Karma, Corki, Rumble, you can't stack armor like you would want to be doing on Rammus.
Yeah, so the teams just tried to start the actual champ select, but the lobby decided that that was not a good thing, kicked everybody out, so we're going to have to remake the lobby real quick as we head into the real champ select in a second. So that gives us a little bit more time to try and figure out a Purple's idea here, because I think, yeah, as I already mentioned, the Lulu and the Lux together do not really support each other. They kind of want to try and do different things. Lulu wants to get like scaling going, wants to go to late game, like buff up the hyper carry, and Lux really wants to find picks and play a bit early, play a bit mid game. So I'm a little bit confused as how that fits together in the supposedly what's going to be the bot lane, because I don't really see what else can go to the bot lane from DSEA Purple and Ngurple.
Yeah, wait, I also have a question. There's a Rumble. Is that Rumble in the jungle?
That is definitely a Rumble in the jungle, yeah.
I guess it got buffed through like the attack speed and on hit damage buff that Rumble received, I think 1.5 patches ago or something.
Yeah.
So that's, I don't know, I've already seen it. I've seen it like previously, working fine. you got some clear.
In the new current meta, certainly also at MSI, it is an absolutely busted pick. It has almost 100% ban rate, and that's because it currently Rumble has by far the fastest clear rate in the entire champion pool. I think it's even that fast that you can do your entire clear, gank top, and still arrive at Skillet Crab before the enemy jungler does, basically.
No way.
It's extremely fast. So that's all because of the bonus attack speed on bonus. I think also bonus damage on the overheat. So yeah, we've been seeing it picked up at MSI or banned actually a lot, and it does a lot of work there. So it is very strong. And the fact that it was opened until the last pick is a little bit surprising. It's a little bit more of a carry pick. So Timorti is going not for the supportive pick, but going for the more carry pick. But yeah, definitely a strong pick.
Yeah, that's the main thing. Like, buffing somebody's clear is an interesting way to make a jungler like viable. For example, Talia, she's kind of a garbage champion if you think about what she does. She doesn't really do anything. She kind of stands there, throws a rock, she misses rocks. Oh damn, she doesn't do anything. Rumble, kind of the same thing. Like, he stands there, he walks up to you, you walk away from him, he can't do anything. Except if you buff somebody's clear, like they did with Talia, I don't know, 3 months ago, and I guess they did with Rumble right now, they just become viable purely because of XP and gold leads, and it doesn't matter that their kits doesn't necessarily suit the things that a jungler has to do. They just become this like thick boy who walk around, do whatever they want to do. Yeah, it's kind of unfun to play against sometimes.
Yeah, Rumble currently also with his ultimate can get a lot of work done in team fights, so you have to be really careful as a team, certainly as Purple and Ngurple now, how you position, because if you group up and you get caught up by that Rumble ult, like you're gonna burn. All of you are gonna burn to death. None of your champions that you picked are very tanky. Lulu can ult. Aramis is going to build armor mainly, so that's about it. You're gonna burn down, so it makes it very hard to go for a safe dragon call, go for a safe baron call, as long as that Rumble is level 6 and alive.
Yeah, I can even see the comp of red, kind of just like being a poke comp. Corki poke, Ferris poke, Karma can like speed up and just disengage, engage, try to keep the pressure up. Gnar for Q, it's hardly that important. And then Rumble, in case some of the poke has landed, then like you can use the Rumble, throw it on there, the equalizer, and look for the picks, look to see to close off what the work of Corki and Ferris been doing earlier.
Yeah, I agree, and I think it's going to be very important for DSEA Purple to try and either make a catch before they get poked too low or start the fight before they get poked too low. Because if they sit back too much and they let the DSEA Redmi kind of just roll over them with the poke, it's going to be impossible to find any counterplay, I think, in this situation. So it's definitely a must for DSEA Purple. I actually have the teams the wrong way around, so I'll fix that in a second. There we go.
It interests me because what Quinn was talking about in his lecture on draft is that there's kind of 3 different champions, and not every single champion lands in one category. There's champions that fit in multiple categories, but the categories are poke, dive, and stand my ground. Stand my ground being you can't engage on me because my stats are too high. Think of Alawi, just leave her alone, go somewhere else, and that's just fine. Poke being, I don't know, Vel'Koz and Xerath. They're long range as hell, but they don't really do anything once you're on top of them. And dive being a Nocturne. Those are like extreme examples of each. Gangplank, Lulu, honestly Victor as well, are kind of standing my ground. They kind of just want to be in one location, and if you try to push onto them, then they just one-shot you. They're too tanky, you can't really kill them, and they'll be fine. Lux, Poke, and Rammus, I don't know. On the other end, there's a mostly Poke composition on enemy team. While Poke, like by design, counter stand my ground, because stand my ground, don't engage on me. Oh, we're not going to. I'm just going to shoot you from over here, and you just kill that composition through long range.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
It seems like purple used like thematically are at a disadvantage.
Yeah. Purple's comp, I think, is based around two principles. First of all, have the opponent team engage onto you, like you already said. Then on the other side, you also have like the slight like pick elements here. You can use Gangplank to stop somebody from running away very fast. You have the Lux binding. You have that Lance. It's about 1.5 to 2 seconds of CC. You have the Victor who can kind of from long range try and do a lot of damage if he's allowed to. So that's the other half, I think, of the team comp, is not only to have them enemy engage onto you, but also as soon as somebody steps forward a little bit, then they might get caught and taken down. But they definitely need to coordinate their damage very, very well.
That's a good point.
The biggest question mark, actually I have two question marks for DSEA Purple in their craft and in what they crafted as a team composition. That is, first of all, the Lux, as I already mentioned, but also the Rammus does not entirely seem to fit that team composition, because Rammus really is a diver, somebody that wants to go into the enemy backline, annoy the heck out of the enemy AD carry because you just can't kill him. And in the meanwhile, the rest of like the follow-up engage lands onto the rest of the team. So that's where I think it's kind of a mismatch with the Rammus. I believe the Rammus was picked because they saw the Varus, Corki, and Gnar, and were like, hey, that's a lot of physical damage, we can build Rammus into that. But the Rumble kind of invalidates that, so it's rough.
Rumble, indeed, as like a carry AP, invalidates that. If that was a tank, it would have been a lot more fine.
Mm-hmm.
But even Corki and obviously Karma, Corki's 80% even more magic damage.
I agree.
Like, sure, it's auto attack focus, means like Ninja Tabi, it's still effective on it. But like Aram's not particularly tanky against the two different consistent damage archetypes through like Varus, Gnar, and Corki.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have question marks.
Yeah, ultimately we're going to have to see how the DSEA Purple and Ngurple manages to pull this off. They have drafted themselves this composition. The DSEA Redmi has drafted themselves the other composition. It will only take a couple more seconds for us to start loading into this game. So if you are in chat right now, be sure to let us know, based on these compositions, based on the players playing, who is going to take home this first game. Is it going to be DSEA Purple with the upset in the first game? Or is it going to be DSEA Red and just taking home their win like they are expected to do so? Because of course this is still a mismatch in skill, well, expectedly at least.
Yeah. My heart says purple. But if I would have to guess, without my money on it, I would go for DSEA Red. But I like show me wrong. Let me see what this composition can do.
Okay, looking at the mastery points, I now understand why Shinu really wanted to play Lux. He has about 900,000 mastery points on Lux, by far the highest in this game. So very much a comfortable pick for him, I think. That's the main reason why they picked the Lux.
That's fair enough. Also, it's in barrier heal. That makes sense. You don't really want to do anything except for survive in that lane. On the other hand, there's a TP on the Corki, on the Victor, on the Gangplank, on the Gnar. It's quite a lot of them. Yeah. For the rest, it seems quite standard.
Yeah. What are we going to see in the early game? What do you think?
Oh, let me think. Okay, so you've mentioned the Rumble can clear very fast. The Rammus is not the fastest clear. Like, you can get through it. He's healthy doing so, but he's not going to be pushing any ganks before hitting the Scuttle Crab just to top off his HP. Which means that early on, Rumble would want to be making some plays. Gangplank versus Gnar early.
Big question.
It's interesting. I don't know. I don't know who pushes it actually, because if Gnar walks up and Gangplank hits Gnar, then Gangplank wins lane, except the lane's pushing towards Gnar. Because then, lane's pushing towards Gnar because then Gnar's minions hit Gangplank instead of Gangplank's minions, which that means it's exposable to ganks. But that's fine because the Mortis is the one that has the jungle pressure early on instead of the Rammus. On the other hand, if Gnar pushes, I think that's fine. I don't think anything's gonna happen there actually. In the mid lane, nothing's gonna happen because it's Corki versus Victor. And bot lane's gonna be pushed in on the side of red. Which means, I guess the Mortis has a lot of pressure, which can like look for what he wants to invade.
I see in chat there's support for purple, so you know, people are willing to have this game go either way, I suppose. Devil X getting the first outside attack of the game, also already a lead for DSEA Redmi. I wonder how purple will come back from this. Cubicle.
I guess we can quit. Just call it a game.
Victor already down about 20 hit points, so you know.
There's tier on Fix It, so obviously he's going lethality, which makes sense because that's I think the more popular build. But also, is that disrespectful? It is a Lux Lulu, so I don't think anything is gonna happen there.
Yeah.
But it is a tier level 1, which you usually don't go.
Yeah, specifically, I played Lethality Varus the other day myself. Usually you do go tier, but not as first item because it just doesn't give any stats. It's a pretty bad opening item. Given the lane though, as you already mentioned, I think it's justifiable here. And it's a little bit greedy. But yeah, I think it can work out. Also, the fact that he's going lethality might hurt his late game a little bit. But I don't think he needs to worry about that. Because Corki, Ngurple, Gnar already have a lot of damage in that late game. So I don't think Fix It needs to build that late game build. There's going to be a little bit of cheese though with Mantra Q as well as a hail of arrows coming down onto Xenu already.
And some good trading by Victor in the mid lane going his way. Doesn't really matter. Corki did go the Thorn Shield, powerful item early in case you're losing. And as you can see, the Gnar also went in. I think it's actually an excellent buy. Like you might think, I'm the I'm the range champion. He's the melee champion, except purely because of the pressure Q has. Ooh, and there's a level 2 and he's abusing that Gangplank. Well done.
Yikes.
Short trade is what make it flourish, that match.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you've seen the bot lane also level 2 hits by DSEA Redmi first, and therefore Xenu is losing about 60% of his hit points, has to pop his pot and regen back up.
So yeah, another engage by Margin Called in case he was level 3 there, which he is now, I think 1 million later. Could have actually been a flash burn. Here there's the gank.
Gang, Mithias actually running into the mid lane, and the flash away from Devil X means that he's going to be fine for now. The bot lane actually is now on the cameras, but yeah, Devil X ultimately just kind of walking away there. But the flash burn is very important. Well done by Mithias.
Yeah, let's see if there's going to be a repeat gank there in order to abuse this flashless Corki. The lane is pushing away from him, which is actually a terrible position to be in without a flash against anything. So we'll see if Ram's going to make a loop-de-loop and visit that lane once again.
Yeah, and if you look at the minimap, you can see that Rammus has cleared 3 camps, now just his 4th, and Immortius has already done a full clear. So Immortius is already 2 camps ahead, well, of course, giving the gank, it lost a little bit of time on the side of Vintias, but yeah, that's just how fast Rumble really clears, doing 7 in the time that Rammus only does 4. Yep.
This lane continues to push in the bot lane, which might mean that after maybe placing a ward or something, the Mortis can take a reset here. He's going to wait in the bush. Let's see if he's going to do it. Yeah, he's going to take a reset. He can actually cycle his camps once again. He can just go from top to bot if he would want to. And in that case, he would be like 5 camps up, because Ramesh just cannot keep up with that level of clear.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. And I think the Mortis is currently building a lot of a lead for himself. So I think Vintias is really under pressure to get something going in a lane soon, as Ayas is taking some poke from that Gnar.
In the chat, Pinda's asking, why am I looking at a Lux Lulu lane? An excellent question. It's drafted by your one and only Cubicle, a drafting master. So honestly, just take it as face value. It's going to be what it is. Cannot go wrong.
Yeah. Guilty Seagull, I think, is a little bit more of an Enchanter player, and Shinu is a Lux OTP, I think. Well, plays a lot of Lux at least, so that's why you're looking at a Lulu Lux lane, which is a complete hilarious alliteration.
Dante's asking if it's worse than a Sona Lux, and I do believe it is, because Lulu is focused on supporting AD carries, while Lux Sona can just support each other and then the team.
Yeah, exactly. Lulu really wants to build up one other player, and Sona and Lux just both kind of just have some slightly less significant than Lulu, but more team-wide buffs over time.
Oh, actually, this lane after... Interesting. So the Corki actually took a base and TP'd back in, which meant that you can pick up a call and just keep the pressure on because he has a refresh of resources. On the other hand, Cubicle has never taken this base yet. It doesn't have a call stack, and obviously you wouldn't buy it because it's a Victor, which just means that there's less pressure from Victor. Well, actually, he was the one winning early. So unless the TP advantage, oh shit! Wait,
here comes an ultimate. The big Gnar hits Red AS back away from the tower, but Ayas does not really seem to get. He does a lot of damage back. Here comes the bottom toss, and actually Ayas is going to go very low. And Ayas flashes away from the wallop in the end, managing to stay alive with Margin and Ayas bringing the fight and bringing the heat to each other. Oh, he goes down! The barrel actually gets him! That's massive for Ayas.
Super well played by the Gangplank, being leveled down in the entire exchange.
Here comes the ultimate from Gangplank as well. The Immortal seems to be in a little bit of trouble. He gets slow and he gets flash forward for Cubic when he goes down. That's 2 kills for Purple!
Well, I mean, this is well played. This is going phenomenally for Purple. Well played by the Gangplank top lane with that insane, I don't know if it was a ghost barrel, but it was a fast barrel, which even though Gnar has a flash, did not respond to. And even surviving just the full-on dive by the Gnar with the ultimate, surviving that, is well played. That's impressive.
Yeah, and what you now see is that after, of course, the Mortis was spotted on that beautiful pink ward in the pixel bush there, Gangplank gets to walk back to lane while expanding his teleport, and still Vintias gets himself a dragon. That's not something you see very often. So Ayas in complete control of top lane right now. We need to see if he manages to use that to get a good teleport going.
Yep. Is there a word? There are words. Never mind. I'm lying. Oh, that's an interesting engage. Okay, you can use the poke, but you missed it out at the end, so you kind of just out-poked yourself using the turret there. I mean, it puts a little pressure. Maybe he's going to take a recall anyways after pushing this lane. So that couldn't be too as inty as it looked like. Yeah, I would like to point out that Red has a lead. Sure, there's these 2 kills going towards Purple, which is really great to see. I mean, they're making plays, and just making moves. But Red does still have just the general farm lead, mostly in that bot lane.
Oh yeah.
In that top lane, and in the mid lane actually, and mostly every single position.
Yeah.
Because of the pressure their picks had early, opposed to the picks of Purple.
Yeah, you see that only Victor was really keeping up with their direct opponents, being about 100 gold. 100 gold ahead. For the rest, it's all... actually, no, never mind. I'm telling lies. Ice is also staying equal with Margin Cult. But Vintias is falling 600 gold below the Immortals already. And also the bot lane has a lot of a gold deficit. So, yeah. Purple is doing some good plays, but still struggling. As IS here looking to get camped, but that's a good part. Buy pink wards, people. They save lives.
Placing pink wards in the right locations can save lives. So don't bother with them because nobody knows what those locations are.
The pink ward in your inventory. Oh, here comes the package! Victor is in trouble. He manages to light the field and gets a stun off, but Avalanche still with a lot of a health advantage, and he has no mana. Cubicle running slowly, but he gets poked down by ultimate after ultimate. But here comes a shield and manages to keep him alive for now, but the Fleet Trooper is enough to close the gap and he takes him down. Also we see Felix Losgat going, flashing away from the bot lane, and now Fix is in a lot of trouble. He manages to flash as well. The binding misses as well as the singularity, and therefore no kills go down. But if you look at the summoner spells, both teams using 3 out of 4.
2 for 3, because the Lulu already used her flash at an earlier stage.
Yeah, fair.
But still,
very nice for purple, making sure that pressure is alleviated there. They can shove in the wave, take a reset, get their mana back, which is very important for the Lulu left lane, more so than for the Varus Karma. There's an engage from the Gnar.
Oh, here comes Rammus. And here comes Neil. The flash wave from Gnar now means that he's looking to be out safe. The ice is very low, so he can never really engage that far. The flash forward from Matthias and immediately taunt onto Margin Cult means that Margin Cult is now in full retreat. But here comes DevilX. DevilX is looking to help out, and Matthias is going to go down very
He has no
fast.
mana. He can't just W.
And that means that Vintojas is going to go down. And Rammus, actually, Rumble did not get the assist there, but Vintojas still goes down to Margin Cult and DevilX.
Yeah, so who was expecting that Rumble, the Rammus ulti? Because I forgot about that. Oh god, he's jumping. Like, oh, and there's the engage onto the cube. We know has no flash because of the engage earlier. And that's a kill picked up by Corki using the help of Timmy's flash. Yeah, a shame. Corki is getting actually quite a significant gold lead, I do believe so, with 91 farm and 2 kills already. And a kill that's about to pop. And Corki is known for like the 2 item power spike, that's at least how I know it.
Yeah.
Which is gonna come a lot earlier than you would want to. Right now it's looking at like 18 minutes, opposed to usually want to be like 23, 24 minutes. If you're just doing just fine. So it's gonna be a terrorizing champion in a short while.
Yeah, he started off with having to blow the flash so early on, so the fact that he's able to bring it back is very promising, as Vintias is looking for another gank, but I don't think that will work out. Corrupting Change gets thrown out and missed, but it's enough to disengage for now from the side of DSEA Redmi.
I see chat somebody saying, jungle clear, rumble clear, hill balanced. Very true, that's an 88 farm rumble at 11 minutes.
That's basically double the CS. That's more than double the CS from Rammus right now.
Yeah, so that's gonna show in the items once he takes a base, which he's doing right now. And let's see what he picks up. Those are some good AP items. Gnar is taking a good beating onto that gangplank. And this is the stage where Gnar can kind of dictate what he wants to do.
Flash forward from Guilty Seagull, immediately manages to let polymorph. Yikes, that's a bit of a wasted flash there.
In retrospect, that's definitely a wasted flash.
Yeah.
Gnar can take a kill here, honestly. Strikebreaker can ulti
and he looks like he might get out of the flash away from IS, means he's going to stay alive for a little bit longer, but now Gnar turns for the mini Gnar, that means he's going to get the range advantage. The barrel's hit and Mar is going to go low. I don't think he'll be able to get the kill from now. But wait, hang on. Did GP just left the tower? But here comes Quinn. Cubicle coming from the mid lane, coming to help out in that top lane to see if he can save the gangplank. That does work out, but in the response, the Morpheus picks up the dragon, unless it gets stolen by the...
Flux.
No, it doesn't get stolen. It does also not get smited very well, by the way. That was Fixit picking that up, even though the Morpheus used his smite, so there definitely was a chance for Shinu to pick that up, but didn't end up going his way.
Happens to the best of us. Smiting is a difficult job. The most stressful part of being a jungler. If that's just taken away, being a jungler would be so much better. Oh,
yeah, here goes the
level 9 Ram.
But that's a red carpet, and I'm not sure if that's enough to save anybody. Well, in fact, 2 people are down now. It's only the mid laners having to juke it out, but that already was determined earlier that DevilX had a big lead, and he takes the second kill. And in fact, there's a double kill. 4-0 up on that Corki right there.
And his skull is gonna pop in 2 minions. I do not want to be dealing with this Corki. I've dealt with a Corki main before, and man, they just start doing so much once they get 2 items. This is not gonna be enjoyable for purple whatsoever.
Yeah, and the fact that he built that the shield bow as well means that he's not going to go down to the poke from Cubicle. He really has to be bursted all the way down. And the shield bow even supports anti-burst because it gives you that shield when you go down to about 30% hit points. So a very smart itemization from DevilX, allowing him together with his fleet footwork to always stay very healthy.
At the same time, we see Varus picking up his only mythic in the Duskblade. I've actually seen a Prowler's Claw Varus like a few times recently, and I don't understand it. Like
what?
Like I don't know. Okay, I don't know. But I've seen it, and I was wondering if you maybe had like some intel, but I guess you're just as confused as I am.
No.
But it's not. It's a Duskblade.
No, I would not be able to tell you that. I have not seen the build at all. I also have no clue why he would go it, but hey, if it's strong, it's strong. That's all I can say.
Wait, Nick, you're saying Prowler's Claw is bad, but you've seen it as well then. You can also
Do you know why Verai would ever go Prowlers?
Fair,
I've seen it that's plural Varus.
No, I agree.
Varus already plural Varus?
No.
Because there's like 3 people inside of Varus.
Fair enough too, I think. But yeah, fair enough. Anyway. So, oh boy, Shinu is in a bit of a pickle, and there he goes down. I was gonna ask how is... No, never mind, because DevX goes forward with the package. Guilty Seagull ulting himself, trying to walk away, and it does not seem to be very safe just yet. Cubicle does come out in time to help peel Guilty Seagull away from DevX.
Yeah, so Nick is saying purely for the mythic bonus, which is 5 lethality per legendary item you have, opposed to 5 ability haste, which I guess is like 25 lethality is quite a lot late game for like 20 then. But that's late game. That's like 4 items, so I still don't understand it. Anyways, he has ability haste, so it's but it's bad to be honest. Yeah, fair enough. On the other hand, Croaky is brokey. Definitely if he's 5-0-1.
Oh, here comes the roasted gangplank. Ajax is not in a very good situation, but here comes the catch. Devlex is a flash away. Ajax is going to get barbecued, but what is going to happen in... Oh, that was a massive piercing arrow, taking down one and also taking down almost a second. Immortus is going golden, flashing away, gets himself a scrap shield, and he walks out. Very well played from the side of DSEA Redmi, and that means that nothing really goes down for them, but they pick up 2 kills behind the first tower from DSEA Purple.
Yeah, that looked kind of inty. Honestly, like the start of it was good. There was collapsing. At one point, the Immortus just walked back, buddy. Like, what are you doing? Don't die. Corky, I think he W'd out. He has the mythic, so I don't think he dies. But they're alive and they got some kills, so end all good. I would like to point out, I talked about an 18-minute 2-item Corky. It's a 16-minute 2-item Corky.
Yup. Yikes. Yeah, that's all you can say about that one. Yikes. The only way to really take him down is to try and get him low like he just did, and then proper shield bow passive, and then do it again, and then try and catch him out with another Lux binding or something.
Yeah, or like Rammus into Lux, into Lulu, into Gangplank ult already at the start of it, into a Victor Burst. Like, I don't know how else you're gonna do it. You gotta throw everything on him. The entire kitchen sink.
Yeah, he's going to be an absolute menace to deal with, and he's not going to get any less bad because Corky has a very strong late game.
Yeah,
so
alongside, honestly, is Karma has a good late game, right?
Karma has a decent game.
Not necessarily.
Varus late game kind of depends on what your opponent team is about. Certainly if you're going Lethality, because if you have Lethality, your opponent doesn't have tanks, you're fine with just poking him down. But yeah, the Rammus is going to get more resistant, but if Varus ever gets his piercing arrow down onto Cubicle, down onto Shinu, it's gonna hurt, I can tell you that much.
I think it's already hurting a little bit.
Yeah, okay, but it's gonna keep hurting.
We can see a dragon attempt here by Red. There is a ward there for purpose. They know what's going on, except they're just getting poked up by the Varus. That was disgusting.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was trying to refer to. The Drake now going down, and the fight is continuing because Magical flashes forward, using the Strike Breaker, I think, to get a kill, but it's traded because Vintios has a good counter engage. Here comes the red carpet, and Vintios has the ult away, flash away, means he gets out alive. That's 2 kills versus 1. Another Varus arrow pierces through, but nothing really comes of it. A good Lux ultimate here to clear the wave means the tower stays alive. So second dragon going over in favor of DSEA Redmi, and also 2 kills for 1. And here goes DevonX one more time and dominating. Yep.
Yeah. So currently the lead that Red has accumulated is just too large. For Purple to be out to looking for any kind of fight. They stand somewhere, they're getting poked out. They engage, they're gonna get one shot. It's a tough position. They're at a 11k deficit, like a 10.5, which kind of just means you have to AFK farm.
Yep.
That means that Rammus is useless because he doesn't AFK farm. That means that Gangplank and Victor are permanently on wave clear duty. Lux as well. And Lulu is also just kind of like walking around, speeding people up so they can get to the waves faster. That's all they can do. Unless they want to die within 5 minutes instead of maybe another 10 or 15. I don't
deem the chances very high.
Yeah, something that you should try and do, I think, as Purple, is now look at the next objective, which is going to be spawning. That's going to be probably the Baron in the top side. Try and completely clear your jungle, your part of the jungle, out of vision from the opponents, and just set something up. Just go and sit in a bush and hope they run into it while trying to put a ward down. And that can give you an advantage for the following Baron fight. But yeah, that's going to be rough, because even then, it's not even likely that, extremely likely to get the kill there. We see here the pick is looking to happen as Vintias runs into Margin Call. He gets taunted up, but he does not seem to be taunted up for very long. And now he just starts running away as, nothing really comes of that. It alleviates a little bit of the pressure as Gnar has to disengage there, but ultimately nothing really happens.
I think Purple should put their eyes on the baller right now. The Corki pushing in. Victor's going to answer that push, but that means Victor's stuck bot while Corki can maybe, I don't know if there's a package coming up, but I haven't seen one in a while. So go towards top side and make something happen there using the Baron. Going back to your point earlier of getting a catch, it's possible. Catch is always possible. But even if you get a catch, I don't know if they win the 4v5. I think they're too far behind to win any realistic 4v5 unless it's specifically Corki they get.
Yeah, I agree.
Which is tough. It's a tough spot to be going.
You see the question mark pings from DSEA Purple coming down onto the Baron, but it doesn't really matter whether or not they know this is going on because they cannot contest it either way. The Lux ultimate coming through, but it's not going to be enough to actually get the kill. That immediately means that Devil X has found himself a new target, and that's the end of Lux. You know, you're standing away about 1.5 screens trying to snipe the Baron, and then you just get engaged on by a massive package as the Equalizer came down. To try and get Seagull out, but yeah, you just try and stand there, you think you're safe, and then suddenly Corki's on your head and you're dead.
Corki's got a massive package, so
yep.
do I.
And he likes showing it off.
So you can see Red setting up a siege right now. They're honestly kind of greedily, like, macro-wise positioned with Gnar being all the way down.
Oh, here comes Corki! Flashed over the wall. Oh, they're still looking to create a fight here. The Gangplank ult going down, and that's actually a very good poke from Cubicle, picking up the kills with Devil X. That's exactly what you needed, on exactly the person you wanted it on. That's great news, as the Morty has to sidestep the ultimate, and he does get taunted up as a result of that, but he gets a scrap shield, and he seems like he's going to be fine when running away. Vintias now, the red carpet comes back up, and that means the end for Vintias, but also for the Morty. Now 2-4-2 is all DSEA red, DSEA purple could have hoped for there.
Yeah, as long as they keep going 2 for 2, they're fine. Like, just trading is all you want to be doing, unless it's about for objectives like kills. Trading, fantastic. Obviously, losing turrets when I was not.
Oh no! Okay, he's fine.
Yeah, this is greedy by red. You could see Gnar all the way in the bot lane, like just between like the lanes there next to the turret of their own. Corki being in the jungle while like 2 people are half-assed. Sort of sieging mid. There's an engage here by Gnar actually, and that's a deadlock. She goes a little bit too fast.
Yeah, that was very, very fast as everybody just goes down and
that's a missed wallop, but it's still a dead Rammus, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, there you see just the long range, massive amounts of damage that was being brought by DSEA Red, and they're not done yet. They look like they're going to go for that first Nexus of the series. Margin called with the Gnar, with a massive Gnar, picking up 2 kills followed by the Gnar, by the Rammus. Very quickly after both turrets are going down. Gilda Seagull is looking to get poked down. Has to use the ult himself, but it's just not enough. Devil X just blows him up, and they're looking to fountain dive Ayaz here as well. Maybe looking to pick up another kill. Lux respawns, so that means they can get maybe another kill. But Nexus goes down, and DSEA Redmi leads the series 1-0.
Well snowballed. Purple did get 2 kills, like the first 2 kills of the game, early. Except then, they kind of just fizzled out. Play by play, Corki getting fed, and then Corki splitting that pressure towards bot lane towards other points in the map. Well played by red, for the most part. There is some points where I think they could be playing better, although at the other end, their lead was so massive, like, I mean, they're just kind of playing the game. It doesn't really matter what they're doing.
Yeah, I agree. I do think that Purple had a very good early game. The first couple of levels, they got out with 2 kills and getting themselves into a little bit of position. But ultimately, at Corki snowballing too hard a little bit early, and Cubicle could not really stop him from exploiting his lead. And that's where I think the major lead from DSEA Redmi came from. Yeah, go ahead.
Still, promising next game. We've seen the top lane going towards Henway in the early game, although his farm lead was still slowly deteriorating, which means he eventually loses the lane. Anyways, you see bot lane at one point always getting kill onto DSEA Red. On the other hand, though, Red was in full control there using the CS, like they doubled the CS, so it doesn't necessarily translate to like a lead if they do get a kill, but it means that like there's options. You'd hope that Purple maybe draft something that's more like, do you want it to be standard? I don't know if you want it to be standard actually, but something that makes more sense to me.
Yeah, I think if you want to pick that Lux in the bot lane, then that's definitely something you can do, right? But you don't really want that Lulu to go with it in that case. I think you want something more aggressive. Look for example, Swain, look for a brand, something that can really explode in the face of DSEA Red. I do think for the next game, the thing that DSEA Purple needs to take away from this is that they definitely have an opportunity. That early game went very much in their way. Even though it kind of just stopped working for them after a couple of minutes, it's something that they can work off. So in that second game, I hope we see another valiant effort from Purple to bring it home. This does mean that we are going to go to a little bit of a break. You'll be hearing from us in a couple of minutes. Just grab yourself some water, stay hydrated, and don't go anywhere else. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the DSEA League of Legends Spring Competition. This time we're gonna get in a single game, a single time. We saw, speaking of games, DSEA Red Me take down DSEA Purple Ngurple just now after an impressive snowball from Devil X. With me in that game was Koen Kedenkendenk, and he's still here to cover the second game of this best of two with me. Koen, are you still hanging in there?
I am. I'm excited for a new matchup between these teams that both have stuff to bring to the table. And even though clearly it was a very favorable for Red, with at one point a goal lead of approximately 11,000, 12,000.
15,000.
Which is sizable.
Yep.
Towards the end, yeah. It still means that with a solo kill top lane, with a catch in the jungle at the early stages, with almost a kill bot, even though the pressure was there definitely towards the side of Red. They have some avenues which they can still try to look towards and hopefully make better use of in this next upcoming game. Because, of course, an underdog story, everybody loves it. Everybody also loves Purple. Me and Pepe surely do no specific reason towards the current iteration of Purple, because that's not the best iteration of Purple, but you can't have everything. So yeah, honestly, I'm just excited to see another game.
Yes, I definitely agree with you. Now, the teams are looking to be ready as well. So we are going to go straight into the second iteration of Champ Select for this game. So yeah, is there any like specific things that you want to see changed? Maybe you want to see some like bans that need to go there, some picks different. What do you want to see there?
There's some stuff I've liked on the side of Purple. Definitely the Gangplank has shown as very solid footing there, even though after getting the solo kill there was like still a consistent loss in like farm lead. It was very marginal, and Gangplank still skills. He still has a wave clear. You got a solo kill, and is at the end he had a very steady scoreline. So I do like the Gangplank as a pick for Ayas in the top lane. At the same time, Cubicle's Quinn, more vulnerable at some points, but still also very steady pick, which I do think is powerful in his hands, giving him options to like catch him down with high burst damage. He can just kill keep it, but still wave clear very nicely. So it's a good pick and use as well.
Yeah, Cubicle's Victor, I think you mean.
Oh, what did I say?
You said Cubicle's Quinn.
Oh, man. Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Quinn, of course, definitely a champion, so it was possible. Either way, we're gonna have to see how that ends up going, as the first bans have already come through. Let's quickly head over there to see how it is going. Oh snap, indeed. I want to bring attention to the fact that DSEA Red Me is the only team that has not lost a single game in this competition so far. So we're going to have to see if they are able to keep that up with the very last game of group stage, or if DSEA Purple manages to take that slap to the wrist at the end anyway, and they bring him down to the Erasmus Taxi driver level of competence.
So, first game, I do believe that Red banned Nunu.
Yep.
As like maybe because they didn't want to see Purple on it, or maybe as like an omen to, hey, Quinn, nice Nunu, bud. But now Purple is banning it, even though are they blue side or red side?
No, Purple is a red side, so it's again DSEA Red with the ban on the Nunu. Oh, my apologies, I will actually swap the names real quick. That's why.
There we go.
My
That's
apologies. Where is it?
Okay, so it's not as confusing as I thought it was. It makes quite a lot of sense, because now we see actually Purple banning the Seraphine, Rumble, and Varus. Picks that they have been facing in the form of the Rumble and the Varus in the previous game. And Red Me banning the Nunu pick towards Quinn, the Karma, a pick played by the support of Purple, as well as the Jinx. So, all is well in the world, it makes sense. Except for this first pick, Diana, by DSEA Red Me. Walk me through it. Do you understand it?
Yeah, I think Diana is currently a very strong jungler. With the Rumble over the table, Diana can definitely replace that. And the clear is a lot less strong early game, so a little bit slower. But those ganks at level 3-4 are very painful to deal with when she hits that level 2 Crescent Strike. So yeah, that's why Diana is currently a very prevalent jungler.
Alright. Is there any way it's a flex pick? Like, it could be a mid laner, could be... I don't think it's a top laner.
If it's a flex,
that
it will go to
possible?
mid lane. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Okay, we'll see.
yeah, I don't think we'll see that flex coming through. I think there are much better options to go for mid lane, so I don't think you really want to flex it. Kokmo Lulu now picked up. I want to quickly note that Garros has actually reached his computer and is now playing AD carry in this second game. The Kokmo Lulu now a much more logical combination with that Lulu for Garros instead of Shindu last game.
Yeah, that's interesting. I was thinking like they're picking Cog this game while they opted for the Lux last game. They could have just done Cog last game as well, but now it all makes sense. Cog Lulu, powerful pick, late game, terrorizing. Runans, you just AoE everybody down of percent max HP damage. While the Lulu speeds you up, it gives you attack speed and just make sure you're healthy and safe. Well known and just very consistently powerful. It's not like anything special, but we all know.
Yeah, we see Ezreal Bard picked up as the response from the side of DSEA Redmi. Ezreal, favorite pick of Fixit. Very safe Bard, very much a fun pick to play and play with. Can be very creative in the way he sets up ganks for Diana, for example. And the response is Poppy, and I'm going to make a call out. There's going to be a jungle Poppy and not a top lane Poppy.
I do think the jungler does indeed play Poppy. Ezreal Bard's also interesting specifically because Ezreal, as you mentioned, is safe, but Bard doesn't want to be bot lane. So it gives it more options for Bard to roam because Ezreal doesn't need the support of his support the entire time. Also, Fixit has been very vocal, at least towards me, that he thinks Bard is the best support in the game. Best support. He doesn't play with it because he likes having a support, but just like the pressure it brings, he speaks very highly of. So they are whipping him out in this game.
Yeah, I think something you can refer to is, for example, Ephraim's Bard from last year. It was very obnoxious to deal with. It was all over the map. Like if you were blinking your eyes, like Bard was somewhere else in another map, and he was just eating your ass and taking you down. Either way, we see the Corki finding its way, as well as the Gnar, by the way. About 3/5 of, actually 4/5 of the composition from the DSEA Redmi of last time, finding his way to the ban table. And the Malzahar and Victor now off the bench from DSEA Redmi.
Yeah, so this means that Quinn's two most popular picks, I do believe, in the form of the Malzahar and the Victor are off the table. His Nunu, possibly as a pick as well, is also out there, which means that we're going to see something that he might not be as comfortable on. The Corki and the Gnar, and obviously the Varus, Rumble, as you mentioned, out there, which honestly an interesting strategy. Just like, hey, the last game, we lost. Just something new. Just whip something new out there. If it's something else, I don't want to face it anymore. And see if that was the issue, or maybe there's other problems present as well.
Here is the Vel'Koz locked in, and very quick responses, Yasuo and Karthus. Very nice from DSEA Red. Karthus is going to be top lane, mind you, as Margin Call is a very big Karthus player, and Yasuo is going to go into that mid lane with Devil X. Maybe the players swap around, by the way, that Devil X going top lane, but Karthus is definitely going into the hands of Margin Call.
Yep, for sure. Karthus top is confusing. Karthus mains are confusing. Urgot.
Ooh, the big shotgun knees being brought out here in response. We're gonna have to see how that ends up going, because Urgot's ult can of course be blocked by a very simple wind wall from Mr. Hazaki. So we're gonna have to see how that ends up going.
Still though, I think Urgot's a good pick here. Like, the man's thick, the man's thick. And Karthus just kind of stands there. Ezra just kind of stands there. Bard just kind of stands there. Yasuo, he can't stand next to an Urgot. He's going to die first. Diana, kind of same thing. He's like top of the food chain. He walks up to people and then he makes sure nobody can deal with him. Which I think is good against something like a Karthus, which generally is can't engage on me because I'm I don't know. I don't like you doing that.
Yeah, of course, his Wall of Pain is a very effective tool at dealing with enemies. If you run through it, you're going to get your magic resistance reduced, and that means that card is going to do extra damage on you. So we're going to have to see if DSEA Purple can close that gap and get onto the Karthus. However, since you are onto the Karthus, like, there is no World of Ages anymore. Karthus is going to be squishy. So yeah, that's definitely a problem with that pick. So we're going to have to see if Margin Call can land his Skittles, if he can land his Skittles, and if he can stay safe. That's sort of the two key feats of that pick.
Yeah, or don't stay safe and just be as dangerous as possible so that you make use your passive.
Limit testing.
There's a bunch of there's different ways to approach the champion.
Yeah. Just use that passive as much as possible. That's very much a truth. Because you know what? You can't be CC'd if you're already dead. That's what Karthus really likes doing. Yeah.
That's very true. I think it's a good standard composition by Purple. Whatever last was, I'm not so sure what the plan was. Here, solid backline, Vel'Koz, Karl Lulu. They're going to be DPSing steadily. Then you got two good peeling frontliners. Poppy, good dealing with the Yasuo, good dealing with the Diana, with the W. Urgot, very fat, and just deals with everybody that wants to stand next to him. It's more easy to execute, I do believe, than last game.
Yeah, I agree. I think Quinn now, Cubicle, going to this Vel'Koz is going to be an interesting pickup. Vel'Koz kind of have the same like features as the Karthus, as in like he has a very long range ultimate and he wants to sit back, not be engaged upon. He has a little bit more self peel, of course, with his E. And the fun thing about Vel'Koz as well is that his ultimate doesn't really care about Yasuo wind wall, so that's something that can work. But yeah, Vel'Koz is a very high damage, high volatile mid laner, I think, for Cubicle.
Yeah. And the Vel'Koz Yasuo matchup, isn't it? Yeah. That's tough. Like, that's not one that's easy to play for the Vel'Koz.
Yep.
Despite the ulti going through the wind wall. Because it basically means if Yasuo gets onto you, he ults you, you're dead. You're done. You're not going to land that E because Yasuo has 7 different dashes you can use. So it's over. Which also means that you can get zoned away from the wave very easily. Like once the wave is a little bit shoved out, Yasuo stands around the wave. Oh, you want to hurt me? I mean, we'll walk up. But there's like that. There's a but element. Vel'Koz going through wind wall means that if Yasuo does not land the full engage, you're dead. Because Vel'Koz lands like the combo and just follow the laser. Follow the Yasuo laser and the Yasuo's dead.
Yeah, and as soon as Yasuo gets really close to you as Vel'Koz, your E particle animation is going to go very short. So if Yasuo tries to dash through you and you see that coming, you can try and interrupt his dash through you with your E and maybe put him in a bunch of trouble. So that's really something that you have to watch out for as that Vel'Koz. Now the teams have started making the actual draft right now. So we should be heading into game in a couple of minutes. That gives us about 5 minutes to go over these team compositions in a little bit more detail. How, for example, do you think this jungle matchup is going to stack up? The Poppy against the Diana.
I don't really know about these champions in the jungle. I don't think either of them clear very fast.
Yeah.
With the new changes to Diana's ultimate, she is able to gank. Poppy is as well, but they aren't the most effective ganks. So, like, they're fine if you get like good angles. You need to really get behind them if you want to do anything.
Yeah.
Which makes it tough. Yeah, I don't know. What do you think?
I think depending on where Poppy wants to gank, she's really going to need the wave in a specific state. I think if Poppy wants to gank mid lane, for example, that's really hard to do if your opponent is already almost sitting under his tower. Because what are you going to do? Knock him further into his tower, I guess? So yeah, that really is a rough part to come through. You either have to really get like go behind their raptors and flash over the wall or something in order to get
fans. Make it happen.
I mean, maybe he even brings Hex Flash. Who knows? But yeah, that's really something you need to be wary of. Like, how are you gonna like find good angles for those ganks in the mid lane? Another way, like for example, he's going from red side, meaning that if you go to top lane in this case, you can get that nasty flash like over the wall in the top side enemy jungle. You can go just behind the tower, just over the wall there, and that might lead to some interesting audacious charges into walls if Anything else can pull that off. Bot lane, I don't think it's going to be possible. Like, he might need to get a good lane gank off, but otherwise it's going to be really rough for Poppy to get that Ezreal or that Bard anywhere stuck. Because like Ezreal has a dash, but it's a blink, so he doesn't really care about Poppy. So yeah, that's what I think about Poppy.
Fair enough. I think indeed the bot lane, like nothing happens except for the fact that Lulu Cog have to push. I do believe if Ezreal and Cog are next to each other, that Cog just out damages the Ezreal.
Yeah.
Which means that the Ezreal has to stand back and just farm with Qs until the wave is on their turret. Which means that they have like the priority there. Which in turn means they are open to ganks by Diana. And if a Diana set up by a Bard ultimate, possibly a Yasuo roam with the Yasuo ult as follow up on the Diana ultimate, it's dangerous for the Lulu Cog to stay there. Ooh, also Karth is on top of there. But they can kind of 5-man Lulu Cog.
Yeah, of course. Actually, Lulu is. I think Lulu is very strong against the Karthus. Karthus' power always is to get that big fat requiem off when somebody goes low. But Lulu can just press a button, either her E or her R. So she even has 2 buttons and just kind of just undo that damage. So Karthus needs to find a way of dealing with that. Is it supersize? I'm not sure. Overgrowth. That's what it's called. From Lulu. In order to get some significant work done.
Fair.
Yeah.
What about the Bard's rowing potential onto the Vel'Koz? I do believe that's wave state dependent once again. If Devil X makes the wave push to him, Cubicle's doomed. Like, it's over. If the wave is pushing to Cubicle, then Cubicle's good. I think that's the main thing.
Yeah, I think the only way that, like, the most surprising way maybe that ganks can be pulled off by Bard onto mid is if he comes either through the Raptor wall with his portal, or even through the wall that's, like, between Wolves and the tower. If he comes from there, and then kind of just avoids running into the tower.
I mean, if you do that into Vel'Koz, Vel'Koz just puts E where you come down, one-shot you.
Yeah, fair. So that's why I think Bard might have some trouble roaming to the mid lane, but as you already said, if Yasuo is just chilling in the tower and Vel'Koz has to overextend to get that wave, then yeah, you just walk behind them, auto-attack them to slow them, auto-attack them to slow them again, and just line them binding once they hit a wall. So yeah, that's definitely something they need to look out for. I am briefly thinking about Yasuo's ultimate, because there is one really nice setup for that, and that is the Diana ultimate. And so if Kog'Maw and Lulu and Vel'Koz are all standing on top of each other, and Diana gets there, it's going to be disaster. So I think
game over.
Yeah, it just the nexus just explodes. It just stops. I think Cubicle and Garros need to be very careful in team fights not to stand on top of each other. Because if they do, well, or just said like Diana's going to go Q, E, R, and Nasa's going to go R, and you just lose a team fight.
And Yasuo's going to go R, and then the Bard's going to go R as well, and they're like, oh no, we saved them, no! And then the disengage by the Kog'Maw Lulu is successful. Kog'Maw Lulu is running them down with the fucking, the attack speed and the on-hit damage, and that's how Purple wins. It's all in Bard's hands.
Purple needs to get carried by Bard. Well, okay, XRV Lost Scout, you heard it. Make it happen. Make sure that Bard carries Purple to victory here. We have managed to make our way through, all the way through the spectator delay. We are loading into the game as we speak, so a couple more seconds before the champions start spawning. I can tell you that Garros is not running Pugmaw as skin, so I'm gonna give him some very negative looks at that right now. Okay, that was my negative look for him. Not the Pugmaw, by far the best skin, of course. You cannot play Kog'Maw if you don't have Pugmaw. But yeah, for the rest, any specific things we see about the keystones and summoner spells?
Not yet. Conqueror Diana. Oh, Dark Harvest Poppy. Yikes. Why does Poppy Dark Harvest?
Oh yeah, that's okay. That's apparently, I think that's intentional, because it's like not like they forgot to change their runes, because last game they played Rammus, so they would have had different runes. So yeah, that's an intentional Dark Harvest Poppy, and that supposes me, that kind of tells me that it's going to be a Trinity Force Poppy. So like not tank, but like full damage Poppy, trying to one-shot people.
Just go Electrocute or Conqueror, don't go Dark Harvest, in my opinion, but maybe it's the go. We can see some engage here. Winterios got a ward down in a nice pixel brush, which means that the invaded by Raiden was successful. Overall, we're just kind of chilling though. Both teams a little bit spread out. I have one question for you. If you take off the nameplates, which composition is better?
Ooh, I think that's really dependent on execution. I kind of like. I think if you just look at like ease of execution, I think I would favor it for red side, so purple. However, as soon as like the Mortis and Devil X get a good team fight going, they get 1 or 2 targets with the ultimates, and Fix It manages to get like a lot of poke down from the sides and stays in the fight for a long time. I think DSEA Red has the advantage there. But again, it's very execution dependent, and if purple can play around the Yasuo ult, so try to get their carries split across the fight, instead of standing on the same place, I think they have a very good chance of winning their team fights.
Yeah, I think I agree. I think red is dependent on combinations. Yeah, Diana into Yasuo, maybe Vabarda set up for it, with Karthus being in a safe position to ult, opposed to purple just being, we stand together, and they can't touch us.
Yep.
We'll see how it goes. You see the push towards Ethereal Bard. Fairly good ads, but even. And there's a Yasuo fresh. Oh no, wait. Ayas is getting. Ooh, wait, so much is happening. Ayas is getting chunked out by the Karthus. He's having a rough time. Like, Martin called obviously knows what he's doing on that pick. And the Yasuo's all in the Vel'Koz, which is not what you want to be having done as the.
Yeah, Yasuo does seem to be having the better of this matchup in the first 2 levels so far, but you know, Cubicle is managing to keep up the CS even though he loses a little bit of health for it, so for now it seems that it is fine. The bot lane, both teams have hit level 2 and nobody really cared about it, so it's just going to be a farm fiesta until a jungler shows up, I think.
That's also a co on the Yasuo, that's, I mean,
that's forces
like the range champion of the
Oh, Winterios is coming to show in the mid lane one more time. Last game he did it and immediately forces a flash from Devil X again. I was about to point out how Devil X missed his wind wall, but it definitely did not help him when he was also so overexcited when the Poppy came down. So another time, just like previous game, the flash gets forced from Devil X.
Yep, Poppy held on to the E. I do believe, maybe in a meme, but I didn't see it. Which I think is smart, because if the Yasuo flashes it, then the game is finished. But then he didn't greed for like any kind of flash E after that. I don't think it's being executed. Known to risk that matchup, you got what you came for. You can see Diana walking over to the grab on the bot side after Poppy was taking a grab on the top side. Ooh, we can see that Diana did full clear. Poppy did a gank after 4 camps. That's quite even. I think they should both be resetting after the first clear.
Yep.
And then reset what they want to do.
Winterios is going to finish up his clear in the top side with the Krugs and then probably reset, and Diana is right now running to their own Krugs and then going to reset after that as well. So I think Winterios currently has a little bit of tempo advantage there in the jungle. Ooh, that's a teleport from Margin God already.
It's mentioned to Mortius. He's 1 camp up, except he didn't get the gank off, so it's like the flash up there.
Oh wait, I see, because the Grompe is still alive. Yeah.
Still though, nothing too major. The TP by the Karthus.
Oh, Ayas wants to go for it, because here is Winterios. The good flash from Margin Call means that he actually gets away there, it seems. Devil X looking for a little bit of aggression, but the gank in the top lane, yeah, gets stopped by that absolutely brilliant flash from Margin Call, but that's the second flash forced by Winterios.
With a lot of credit to Ayas, I don't want to give everything away to the jungler. Top laners matter, people. Yeah, well played by Ayas, not getting his... I didn't really do anything. Indeed, that matchup seems to me very Urgot favored, because he just walks up. What's Karthus gonna do?
Is that Rick? Camera.
Yeah. I don't know. At least just executing it properly. You see the Mortis invading.
Whoa!
That's
That's a flash. I'm not sure if that was intended or not, but he's definitely going for a fight. The exhaust comes down as well. The Mortis now goes very hard into it because he gets the binding and the Mortis gets the kill. Flash over the wall himself and therefore he gets out as well. We'll get to the top lane in a second because there was also a kill. But yeah, the Mortis picks up a kill onto Guilty Seagull who very aggressively flashed forward. In the meanwhile, we saw this margin card now respawning because Ayos got the solo kill. And the fight is continuing in the bot lane. Carlos actually continues to fight on his own versus 3 and pays for it with his life. There was a little bit questionable. Vintage actually also went down. That's 3 kills now in favor of DSEA Redmi versus DSEA Purple and Ngurple on the bot side.
Yeah, but only one trade, but that's all the way on the top side. It has nothing to do with that play going on. A little bit unfortunate. Like, you don't want to be falling behind this early with some like execution. I mean, they had a plan. They're trying to go aggressive, but the barge there back is he had an outside of run, like a clear path to help the Diana out. Yeah, we'll see if this keeps snowballing. I think just keep the lead where it is right now. We do see a flash to Yasuo, but he's just going to be vibing, and we're just going to be walking past just to keep some. Keep him, let him know he's there. Don't let him, keep on his toes. I think that's about it.
Yeah, so now we enter a little bit of a passive state of the game. So let's take stock of what happened so far. I think top lane is going fine for both players, although the lead of CS is going in favor of Martin Cole. We see jungle, well, quite a hefty CS lead for the Mortis one more time, just like last game. Devil-X. Oh, here comes the Requiem. And nothing really happened, but hey, that's Dark Harvest stack.
Yasuo did not go for that. I don't know if that's communication with the Karthus, because he didn't know that was there to follow up. But I do think an EQ onto the Velcos has been killed. There we see the Urgot engaging. He's gonna land the E. That's a lot of damage. And he has the ultimate, so that's a kill. That's a kill.
Damn, Ayos actually managing to get the second solo kill on the top lane. And Margin called, although he's having a lot of pressure and CS difference and stuff, he goes down another time. That's a big trouble now for DSEA Red in the top lane.
Yep, at this point, I think Urgot just going to movement speed. Just go, what's the item? The tank item that gives you movement speed.
Strikebreaker?
No. Strikebreaker is also possible, sure. Something that, like, close gaps, close.
Oh, the chem tank.
Kill over and over. Yeah, chem tank or Stridebreaker are both fine.
Yeah.
And just make it a terrible time for Karthus.
Yeah, I agree. I think, yeah, with that lead now that he has, because he should have a gold lead, right? Yeah, he's about 700 gold ahead. He should be able to start really bullying Margin Call out. Margin Call actually picked up a Dark Seal as well, so he's really confident that he can bring this back. We're gonna have to see if that.
Super efficient.
Yeah.
Especially for Karthus, I can just ult for like 3 assists.
Yeah, fair. Oh boy, Garrel's taking a lot of damage. He goes down to the Arcane Barrage, and that means that the flash forward from Bart combined with the Ignite is going to be enough for Fixit to pick up that kill. And that's a solo kill, but now actually Guilty Seagull is not done fighting, but I'm not sure if that's a good choice because he just goes down. The flash from Devil-X in the mid lane, meanwhile, actually Cubicle picks up the solo kill as well. Both lanes from DSEA Purple are winning solo kills.
Yep, and that's Yasuo committing the flash. Keep doing flash in the matchup. That's actually
oh no, the Morty is going to
might have to flash here.
No, never mind, he just walks out.
See, Purple always shows promise. They always got something up their sleeve which makes them stick in that game. And that's what you gotta respect about them. Still though, because of CS differentials, which they generally do continuously lose, even though they pick up kills in certain lanes, and generally just amount of kills, they are falling behind by 2,500 plus a dragon at the moment. In a team with a Karthus and Ezreal does scale extremely hard.
Vintorias wants to go for the third one, and he actually manages to. Yeah, he knocks Karthus forward, and means that Karthus actually, who already knows he's going to die, flashes away. That's a really curious choice there. He goes down anyway, and then Morty is now responding in the bot lane. Here, here's the ultimate to actually try and get the kill to Guilty Seagull. Guilty Seagull goes down, and also Garrels is taken down. So that means that 1 kill on the top lane for 2 kills in the bot lane. So definitely more efficient gank by the Mortis.
And Fixit and actually really lost health flexing their muscles in this bot lane,
Yeah.
keeping their lead strong and making sure that the late game. Oh, wait, what is this?
Okay, so Yasuo is going to go top lane, but Ayaz did not know he was going to go around, and that means Ayaz is going to fall here.
Flash.
He flashes and he actually gets out! No way. Is that enough? That's enough. Ayaz actually uses his flash and leaves that fight unscathed.
Like, I was about to flame the flash, he flashed along the trajectory of the tornado. But it was far enough.
Oh, the ultimate is enough to pick up the kill! No, because the actually Velotka managed to get out and instant response from Demortius to pick up the kill onto Cubicle there. Vintias now looking for a gank in the bot lane, actually knocks Fixit out of the Arcane Barrage, and that means that there's not going to be a kill here, I believe. Fixit running away slowly, but flash forward from Garros, he wants the kill! The heal from Fixit is going to keep him alive, and he also gets a relic from Bard, and Garros commits the flash and does not get the kill for it. That's trouble.
I do respect the attempt. It's a big shutdown he would have picked up if he did get the kill. But sometimes it just does not work out. Still though, shutdowns available in the valley to pick up, shutdowns available in the jungle to pick up for purple. And they have obviously that Urgot is quite powerful, so I don't think they have to worry yet. Let's get to that option.
Oh, guilty Seagull.
Seagulls very dangerously with the Carson does a lot of damage. Ready to bait?
Oh, Vintias actually managed to get the stun into the wall. That means that Cardi is going to go down again. Here he goes and he's down. Vintias picking up another kill here. Ayaz also in trouble in the top lane. That's a 1v2, but he does not seem to get the double kill as the ultimate from Yasuo lands and he goes down 1-for-1 across the map one more time.
Damn, it was not a double kill. That's insane.
Kudos disappointed.
I want to see a double kill. Oh, is that a dead?
Oh no, wacht, Vintias, they just ships passing in the night and then Morty is now in the tower. What is he doing? He just did. Huh? Okay, Fixit picks up a goal bot lane.
That's the enemy tower. It damages you when you stand next to it and there's nothing to tank.
I am not sure why the Morty
is back up. Yeah, there it is. And that's
oh no, yeah, and the ultimate Vintias picking up a 4th kill already actually. He is going for the Trinity Force like I mentioned, and he's doing a lot of work so far.
Yeah, honestly, sloppy by both sides a little bit, and I'm taking like red a little bit more.
Oh, margin called, looking to go down again, because here is Ayaz, and he is looking to get margin called, and he does definitely get it. Now, Killseeker has to sidestep his way out of this, because he is going to get skittled down the other way, but it does not look like margin called is going to focus him, but Killseeker using the ult manages to get away for now, but here comes the Tempered Fate, and that means that Demortius gets to get a free charge into Killseeker, but no! Because there's the absolute hero Ayaz trying to actually save it, and he does manage to get it out, and that is a clean escape from Guilty Seagull.
You're wrong, that's a Divine Sunderer Poppy, an item you
don't
see a lot anymore. But I guess it does make sense with what Poppy wants to do as a champion. Damage while being tanky. That's a good though. And we see a swap now. Now Yasuo is taking a permanent spot in the top lane, it seems, at least for this moment. While Karthus is going towards the mid, towards the dragon, which DSEA Red are starting up. DSEA Purple is not in position to contest. So that's one going to red, and we can see what soul is going to be happening. And it is Cloud.
Yeah, down 2 Drakes going over in favor of DSEA Red means that they do have that win condition going. But for now, the game really has been tit for tat and blow for blow. The gold difference is 6k still though, which is purely based on the CS difference.
That's a dead Yasuo, that's a dead Yasuo.
That seems to be a dead Yasuo indeed, as the Velko's turn rate easily outwits that of Yasuo. But Vintias also going down in the bot lane because of the pressure that he's been receiving.
We don't really see all the kills falling because the camera just cannot keep up with all the action. 20 kills in a solid 14 minutes. Still though, people are trading. Fixit is toward the bot with... Okay, no. Interesting, just like the card's just picking up waves, I think. Like it doesn't matter that he dies. It doesn't matter, like he dies, he has passive, he picks up the wave with his passive.
Yeah.
and he has 120 farm.
Oh, Fix it seems to be in trouble. A lot of damage. Here goes Garrus. Having to use the. Wait, the ultimate was from Guilty Seagull from himself. That was probably a misclick. But Devilex teleporting in and he's looking to go for the dive. I'm not sure if this is the dive he wants to go. Actually, the knockback lands from Ios as this Dane comes through. But actually, it lands the ultimate, gets the kill, dashes out, but he does not manage to live. That's a 1-for-1 one more time.
And still worth for purple.
Yeah.
Once I got the shutdown on the Ezreal, I do think that Yasuo's worth more than the Kog'Maw.
Yeah.
So that's decent.
I did not even see that Ezreal gone down actually.
Yeah, Ezreal got run down by the Urgot. No, not by the Urgot, by the...
Oh, that's the Guilty Seagull, who's also now a dead Seagull.
Guilty for the crime of dying.
Who got murdered?
Yeah. We did see though that the Israel bounty, which was a solid 700 or 600, got picked up by Lulu. It's not the place you want it, but I mean she has a mythic. So we got a battle song. We can run it very fast.
She already has battle song coming through. Means indeed the engage from, for example, the Kog'Maw from the Urgot and from the Poppy is going to be even more potent. Now it seems like Vintias, who is valiantly defending this tower, is going to do so strugglingly, as he gets targeted by 3 people.
Strugglingly.
But lost health and Immortius is walk away. Uh-oh, the Immortius running into the Ios and eats a lot of damage! And he gets eaten! Yikes, that's not something the Immortius is really looking for.
Look how thick he is! He's so massive!
Urgot eats that for the 5th time this game. He gets another 300 gold cash into his inventory. So Ios definitely doing a lot of work in this game actually for DSEA purpose.
Sure. He'll be the one, he'll be the raid boss. Like they were talking about it in champs like that. I think he is compositionally like very strong against what DSEA Red has, and also him being fed just means he can just kind of walk wherever he wants.
Yeah.
With nobody being able to stop him.
He can kind of walk with his shotgun knees and shotgun the shotgun out of everybody, and yeah, and then eat them with his belly.
For sure.
In the meanwhile, we see Kog'Maw, who has 5 deaths to his name, which is just as many as Margin Call, picking up another wave, trying to get fed towards that 3-4 item spike, because that's where Kog'Maw really starts to do a lot of damage. Until then, need to be careful. Now you see Devilex in the top lane, fix it together, trying to get the last like 10% of that tower to pick up the gold there. The gold lead from the DSEA Red has stagnated, is now at about 6,000, just like it was a couple of minutes ago. But it's still 6,000, which is a significant amount.
Yeah, we see a siege in the bottom lane, but that's on tier 1, as well as siege in the top lane, but that's on tier 2. And I do not think that the Urgot is able to deal with the poking the Ezreal has, which means that the turret at one point shouldn't be falling, although the Lulu is already there to help. And that's the Dan ultimate onto Kog'Maw. That's a lot of damage! Whoa!
A lot of damage. I think he flashed, but it didn't matter. And yeah, that's not only did he die, he also blew his flash, so he's even more vulnerable next time. That's going to be rough.
Yeah, I mean, Diana is a 4-cost minion.
Uh-oh. Ios wants to go deep.
That's still just auto attacking, but then there's the shield by the Solari of the Bard. That's a knockup by the Vel'Koz, plus a flash by the... Was it a flash by the...
Everybody flashed there, I think. I don't know. But yeah, Gyros wasting his flash, dying anyway. Ios going to go in with his flash, but he did not manage to get the kill. So that is definitely seen some setbacks for DSEA purpose. Ios gets stunned against the wall and then poked down by Fix. He is not alone. Here goes Vintios and Cubicle as well. Ios now is very low, so he cannot really enter the fight. Margin Call is walking in, trying to abuse his passive as much as possible, but it does not seem to be enough. He goes down with no counter, but he stops the dragon. That's important.
Oh,
Triple kill with the ultimate. Oh. Massive for Margin Call. Instantly he's just straight back into the game. The Herald gets popped in the top lane, and that looks like a massive gold swing.
Yeah, gold swing in favor, like a 3,000 something in favor of red plus the dragon, which means that the soul is going to be in easy grabbing within a short period of time. This is just Karthus, like the man's 051. He's kind of just like I'm not gonna say running it down because that's not very nice, but using his passive to his best degree, and then he gets his one fight where like he's in there and he got his passive running and he gets 3 kills with his ulti, and now suddenly you're the hyperscaling carry that is also fed because you got that one play.
Yep.
I mean, he makes it happen. He makes it work.
Oh no, the Mortius misses the ult, and that means that the Mortius now is in a lot of trouble. He goes down. Arcane, does it? The true arcane troop shot? I don't know, whatever. Goes through a lot of damage, but he doesn't.
Barrage.
The true shot barrage. There you go. There we go. Vintias now finds stun into Bard, but Bard does not seem to be going down just that quickly. Vintias looks to go for a little bit more damage, but Bard just says party portal out, and he goes to the mid lane.
Party portal to the mid lane. Now, where are we at in terms of itemization? We got Karthus working on his second item, obviously them being very strong on the champion. Then already 2 items completed, meaning that she's solid, she's in there. She also has the Conquer with the attack speed, Nashor's Tooth. It means that DPSing is really what she does quite well at the moment. Item. Wait, that's a 3 item Ezreal. Oh,
yeah. Also, has his Muramara finished already. Devilex seems to be in a lot of trouble. He does manage to get the wind wall out, and he gets actually the last breath onto Lulu, but it's not going to be enough to get the kill here. He's probably going to flash over the wall, but he does not get to because there's Poppy smacking his face into the wall and picking up the kill.
And that's another shutdown for Poppy. Poppy's doing well.
Oh, we've seen this one before. Guilty Seagull going down to the Mortius, hiding in the bush.
Yes, he's not even using his dash, he's just auto attacking. At one point, when to finish it off, he uses the dash. Yeah, this is a tough spot once again for Purple. Like the fights have been kind of messy, going both ways. Except what Red does, what Purple just does not do as well, is pick up towers as well as farm. So you can see differential 50 in top and jungle, 15 in mid lane, 30 in the bot lane. And that just kind of adds up, even though you're fighting going 1-for-1 and 1-for-1, you're getting more gold in the process, which means at one point you're going to start winning the fights a lot more.
Yeah, and what you see is even though Ayaz here is 5-2, he is still about 1,000 gold behind his opposite number. Margin Call picking up so much farm, and there's 3 kills as well. And it means he's still doing very well. Now Poppy looking for another shot at Margin Call, and Margin Call does look like he's going to be utilizing his passive one more time. The kill this time goes to Garrels as he goes actually down! Oh no, the counter kill coming down, and that means that Garrels now, who got the kill, also goes down, and the rest of DSEA Red is on the purple worm.
How many Qs do you actually hit there? You have like 1 Q on the Kog'Maw, and that's already with the passive. The W and the ulti, enough to just kill the cog.
I think it was 1 or 2, yeah, that was a lot of damage coming through, and I think Kog'Maw really needs to start working on that magic resist soon, because it's going to be rough. He's working on the Phantom Dancer right now, I believe, but after that I really hope he gets either a QSS or just straight up a Maul Mortius.
What about like a Wit's End?
Ooh, Wit's End is a good call, yeah.
I like Wit's End. It's got buffed recently, got 10 already.
And honestly, it just got all the stats that Kog'Maw wants, right? It gets the attack speed and it gets the magic resist, and even some magic shred, you know? So it even helps out Cubicle and himself to do a lot of more damage.
It does not do any magic shred. That's been out for a long time.
Oh, really? Never mind.
Yeah, it just on-hit magic damage, AD, attack speed, MR, movement speed.
You can tell I build the item very frequently, by the way. Oh, Cubicle getting caught by the Tempered Fate, but it's not enough for him to go down. Now, he did have to blow his flash, but he does manage to save his life. Margin Call and Devilex in the top lane.
Okay, so what are Purple's avenues? Avenues, I think, still consist of getting shutdowns, and sort of slowing down the pace of the game. Because if you get the late game called Lulu with a beefy frontline, you're in a good spot. But if the fight's still happening so fast, Karthus kind of just inting his way into getting towers and stuff, it becomes a difficult game to play.
Yeah, and it definitely reminds me a little bit of that inting science style, where you just die a lot, but it doesn't really matter because you just win the game for it. Margin Call now getting engaged going by Ayaz, but he definitely has the help from Devilex as well as the Morty is here. Ayaz flashing away, but I'm not sure if it's going to be enough. The ultimate from Lulu comes through to keep him alive, but here also comes the Requiem, but that means a lot of damage going down, and even the last breath onto the Lulu support managed to flash away, therefore he live. Now Margin Call is actually very low. That means he might be able to fall. But now here comes the Zhonya's. Now Devil X engaged by Winter Jas. And Margin Call comes out of the Zhonya's and he goes down. Winter Jas also goes down. And that means that it ultimately only 1-4. But the inhibitor goes down for the side of DSEA Red. So still favored for them. And this is where the siege really starts. Now the Ezreal ultimate comes through. But does not manage to pick up the kill. That means that it remains at a 1-for-1.
1-for-1, minus inhib, and also the summoner spells on the side of purple are blown a lot more often than the side of red.
Yeah.
So the next fight is gonna happen as has a splash, the Blast Splash, the Bardo Splash.
Oh, Ezreal's gone out and he goes down. And that means that Az is now in a lot of trouble and he's not actually going to go down. Actually, that's the Morty is also going down. There's 3 Baron buffs that were removed from the DSEA Red.
As well as 2 shutdowns in the favor of, I think Kaguma got one of them, which is exactly where you want the goal to be. Because
both of them actually.
One shot and both of them are fantastic.
Yeah.
As you can see, the amount of kills is very close, 20-19. Like, it's not in a bad spot right now. It is Drake, which means that Soul is going to be 5 minutes later.
Yeah, I think this is huge.
For Red.
Yeah, I think this is really, really big for Red as well, for Purple as well. The fact that they managed to delay this Soul is not maybe that important, but they also delayed the Elder Dragon, which is another big win condition that the DSEA Red would be able to play towards if they got this. The fact that it's now only going to be spawning at least in 36 minutes means that they kind of, Purple here kind of saved themselves from that win condition for a while.
Yeah. A Karthus with Elder is literally GG.
Single ult pentakill.
He gets his ult damage, he gets Dark Harvest, he gets...
Oh, here goes Level X!
The combo!
Yikes, he goes down for it one more time, but it looks like Guilty Seagull might have the same fate. Now Margin Call dies without using his Zhonya. Oh, he actually uses Zhonya's already. The Tempered Fate, Vintius coming in. Okay, well that was it, I think. 2 for 1. Oh no, Winterjas running into Bar. He knows it though, and he managed to get the rotation.
I don't think this is what he wants to be doing, honestly. It's not what he has to be taking.
He misses his hammer, and therefore Fixit just gets a single Q, and he goes down. That's a, one more retribution kill.
Yep. Yes, as I was talking before I get interrupted by a bunch of fighting. So there's Dark Harvest, there's Karthus ulti, there's the Andrew's Anguish, and then there's the Elder Bud. All that ticking just means that somebody just dies. Like,
oh, here goes Ice. He mentioned that the damage goes down immediately. That means that the siege is broken off for now.
Yo, wait, you can do that? You got E Stride Breaker and then his E travels.
Yeah, it's like Graga's Body Slam Flash.
Yeah, except it's Urgot, so it's weird.
Yeah.
You can like use your movement spells. You can also like E Flash. I didn't know you could E Stride Breaker. That's cool.
Yep.
Yeah, catching the Bard off guard, which means that there's another. Is that a shutdown? At least it's a kill.
It was not a shutdown.
Look at the items of the Bard.
That's a Cosmic Drive.
Cosmic Drive.
He wants to go
no. They're gaming.
If you have at least 160 ability power, gain 20 ability haste. Now let's have a look if he actually manages to fulfill that requirement. He definitely does. He's at 198, which means that he has a lot of ability haste and therefore can do a lot of cosmic bindings as well as tempered fates.
As well as caretaker crimes if you want.
Yeah, and also actually the party builders, you know, might as well just toss a lot of them, go all over the map.
True. Yeah, interesting. I don't think it's standard. I don't think it's necessarily something you would do in every game. But it does mean you can get a lot of picks out.
If Abo is in chat, please let us know if this is a standard build. We see the Baron going down for DSEA Red Meat in the meanwhile, by the way.
Yeah. In a messy fight, in a messy game like this, I think it is good because that just means you can get your ult out so often and you can keep the pace up of the game. Because that's what they want to be doing with the Karthus, who's really at like a very strong point right now. The Ezreal as well, 4 items completed.
Yeah.
I do think they want to be clearing it out relatively soon.
Yeah, well, to be fair, as you saw like a couple of minutes ago, if this Ezreal gets caught, he is gonna go down. Like, even if he has 4 items, it doesn't really matter. If he gets caught and he isn't able to really flash away, he's gonna go down. So squishiness is very much still a thing.
Yep. Sure. A 9k gold lead, same as it has been for like 10 minutes now, since like last Baron.
Yep.
Which means they're hanging in. It's logical since inhibs are running, which means they're much farm.
Oh, Devil X might be...
Right?
Flash over the wall again from Guilty
Another one!
A big flipping laser coming through, and that means that Devil X goes down. That's like the 4th time we see Guilty Seagull flashing over a wall there to get a kill. And this time it definitely pays off. Devil X overstepping his boundaries a little bit not.
And this just means that the Baron is stalled out a lot easier for a longer period of time, with one less member to apply the pressure. Is that an AFL?
I'm not sure, but it might be doing a lot of damage. In fact, he did get interrupted there, I think. IELTS having to disengage now because there's 2 people. But yeah, I think he might have gotten interrupted there.
Oh, that's possible actually. It also was Lasagna, so maybe that's the reason why I felt that really. And I guess interruption. That makes sense. Good interruption then. Keeps your health pool a little bit healthier if health doesn't ultra.
Yeah, it does cost IELTS his flash.
I mean, fair enough. Nobody died. All good, all good. Ooh, that's a 440 damage cube. That's another one. He does land them. Like, you can tell he does play the champion.
He knows how to land Skittles, although Pointerias is actually doing a pretty decent job at sidestepping a lot of them as well. But yeah, Skittles, solo Skittles do a lot of damage. In fact, they do double damage. They crit when they hit a single target. So that means that you definitely don't want to get hit by that. Even if you have some magic resist, which Wintias does not have, and he goes down to a very simple EQ.
That's a dead Carthage.
Yeah, he gets eaten. Belly eaten. Carthage now, of course, in his passive means he's still going to be able to do damage. Now, the ultimate from Lulu comes through, and therefore Ice is still alive, but he's not going to be for very long. The Devil X is respawn, is coming back in. The flash forward from Fixit gets him into the double kill. Now also the triple kill. This is going to be a quarter. Now not the triple kill because actually it was taken by the Mortius, but now the entire ace coming through for just 2 kills on the side of the DSEA Rapmi spells the end of this game, it feels like.
Yeah. Henry was very fat in there with all of his items. Except unfortunately there was not enough follow-up because the purple was not ready to do so. And that means, yeah, as you said, the end of the game, as well as the end of the series. Purple doing a valiant effort, showing a very competitive game of 25 to 28 kills. Yet still, the matchup goes towards red. GG, well played to both teams, to all 10 players. DSEA is well represented.
Yeah, and that means now that the group stage for Group 1 of the DSEA League of Legends Spring Competition is finally done. DSEA Rapmi managing to make it through without dropping a single game, going 4-0-0 with 4 wins, 0 ties, 0 losses. So very impressive stuff from them. They will be heading into the semi-finals as the first seed from their group. So I'm very curious to see if they can continue this lossless record or whether or not they're going to hit a brick wall at some point.
I do think the chance of them hitting orange is quite high.
Yeah, they will.
The semis.
It's guaranteed, in fact.
Which means they're not going to go lossless. Yeah, and they're not going to go lossless. That's impossible, actually.
Yeah, well, that means that we're going to have a quick look at the final standings of Group 1. They are not very surprising. I think they're the same as we saw before. Let me hit F5 on that. That means Green Beans versus Primera has not been filled in just yet, but I won't change it. What's going to happen is the following: DSEA Rapmi, Zephyr Primera. Those are going to be the Tier 1 and 2 seed heading into the next phase. Doma City Gaming, a respectable 3rd place. DSEA Purple and Ngurple on 4th. And DSEA Green Beans, who still have to play against Zephyr Primera, will take a 4th place. So yeah, curious to see how that ends up going. Of course, as already mentioned, DSEA Rapmi not dropping a single game so far. Will be heading to DSEA Orange, which also means that there's guaranteed to be one DSEA team in the finals, but also one non-DSEA team in the finals.
Which is honestly quite nice.
Yeah.
That means that many different people are going to represent it in the grand finals. I do think if we look at the other side of the bracket, we can also see who the opponents of Zephyr Primera as well as DSEA Red are going to be. One of them is already spoiled. That's DSEA Orange, for the case of DSEA Red. A team which is placed second currently in the standings of the second pool. And Erasmus taxi drivers are then going to face Zephyr
Primera, yes.
in the other semifinals.
Yeah, so the semifinals will be Erasmus Taxi Drivers against Zephyr Primera, basically Rotterdam against Eindhoven. So that's going to be very interesting to see. And then you have, of course, the clash within Delft itself, the derby between Orange and Red, in a best of 5, I believe, series, which is going to be played in 2 weeks, because next week we have the last week of the Blood Minus tournament. They still have one more round to play. And when that is done, the week after that, we're going to be starting off with the knockout phase. So be sure to tune in again next week to see how the Blood Minus tournament ends up going. There's one group, the top 4 makes it out, where 1 plays 4 and 2 plays 3. So we're going to have to see who gets 1, 2, 3, and 4. And the week after that, be sure to come back again, because, that's non-stop action all the way to the finals.
I still have one question from the chat. Adcasters, who do you think will win Plat Plus?
Who do we think will win it? The entire thing, you mean?
I do believe they mean the entire tournament, yeah.
Ooh. Well, honestly, I think I'm going to go with the diplomatic answer and saying that there's no way to know, because they've been playing in 2 different groups. Erasmus Taxi Drivers did, of course, drop a game to BS Primus, so maybe the DSEA Red Me can exploit the same.
The diplomatic answer, as in the real answer, you're not going to tell it to us.
Well, the real answer is that I don't know. The diplomatic answer is that I think all teams have a chance.
Alright. I know the real answer. Orange is going to win.
Orange, yeah, I figured you'd
3-1
say
against Red, and then they're going to win in the finals against, what should we say, Erasmus Taxi Drivers. You heard it here first.
I think the 2 most favored teams are Erasmus Taxi Drivers and DSEA Red Me, coming up first in their groups respectively, but I'm not counting any team out, as any team has a weakness and can be shut down when exploited. So that's all I have to say for this. Thank you so much for watching from home. Koen, do you have any closing messages?
Thanks for watching. See y'all next time. Stay hydrated and have a good night.
Have a good night, definitely, and we'll see you another day. Bye bye.